We are going to review the ocean floor for the reason being, in grading those quizzes from last week, it was quite evident that a lot of you did not study. The homework said, study your notes, and you didn't. Instead, you relied on hearing someone else say, oh, we got a quiz today, then you tried to study last minute, and you didn't do so great. So I could have taken those grades, put them in, and it would have been the doom of you, and your grades would have not looked so great. But instead, I said, well, maybe we just need to do a little bit more review, and next time they will know that if I say study your notes, I actually mean study your notes. Um, just to go over a couple of things. Today's announcement mentioned something about adults being what? Not being able to read. What does that mean to you? Raise your hand. Ray.
I mean, as a society we live in today, lack focus on more education, or we take what we have for granted, even though there's other people out there, like I said, some kids that doesn't have access to education. That makes me feel like I'm taking what I have for granted because I'm not trying as hard as I can in education.
Okay. Personally, Drew.
Well, well, I think it means that some people they didn't either have they couldn't receive the education to understand how to, or it's just their ignorance blocking out what they really should be able to know.
Okay. Jenny.
I feel like this society is just worrying about things that's unneeded. Like, if you heard the announcements, there's about 780 million adults that don't have education, don't have reading, right? And for us, like, us students in this school and other schools, we should, like, take this opportunity to use it for granted.
Okay. Rogerlyn did not use it for granted, but I got what you're saying. Rogerlyn, put those scissors away, Aaliyah.
That means that people, like, they don't, okay, so in America, you can get 12 years of schooling for free, but the college got to pay for that. So knowing that, it shows that many people just choose, I'm not saying they choose not to, but that I don't think I really thought about that, just starting over. It might be like a pride thing, but they can actually start over. And that means that many adults, they might be able to kind of read, but they can't comprehend what they do or learn how to like pronounce it.
Exactly. That's the point I'm getting at. It's not that all of you make great points, but when they say there's adults in America and children in America that cannot read, they don't mean they can't open up a book and read the words. For instance, the words on here, earths, oceans, and ocean floor vocabulary. They may be able to pronounce and sound out those words. Doesn't mean they can't read the words. What it means is they can't comprehend what it is that they've read. What do I mean when you say you can't comprehend what it is that you've read, Bryson? They don't understand what they're reading. They're just words. They can't put it together. So if you read a book and I ask a question that comes out of the book, but because if I say, what color is the sky? And the book doesn't say the sky is blue, it may say something like the sky is a combination of colors that we link together, mixing with, they will not be able to get that because they can't comprehend what it is that they're reading. They're looking for it to say the sky is. So that is a point I want to make to you all, because it's very important that when you are reading or you are paying attention to something, that you are comprehending what's going on. We don't have a major problem in here, but for this reason, I said, well, we need to go over some things and point out some context clues and some information on that quiz, or just period, to be able to make sure that you're successful in all that you do. Because some of it is because of ignorance, like Drew said. Some of it's because of lack of caring. You just don't care. Some of it, Rogerlyn said, is pride. And some of it is you haven't been taught to do so. And then some of it is just carelessness, meaning that you're rushing and you're just speeding through and you're not really paying attention. And you have to pay attention to every little detail, because what you do now in your teenage years is going to count and matter in your adult life. You don't become an adult when you become an adult. You learn to become an adult throughout your years of life. I don't know what I know and learned it today. I learned it throughout my life. So if you don't pick up handy skills and tools that are needed for life, then you're going to be stuck when it's time to use it. When you get into life and you're trying to pay bills and also get the things that you want and also feed your family and maybe go out and have a good time with your friends, you're gonna you're gonna have to be able to comprehend and think about, okay, what's important, what's a necessity, what do I need to do here, how do I do this, how do I manage this so I can get all of these things in. Because if you're thinking impulsively and just rushing through, you may go out and buy a new outfit and go out to dinner with your friends and come home and your lights, gas, and water are off because you're like, ooh, I didn't take that into consideration that I needed to pay those things and I need to average out my money and figure out what I need to do. So what we're going to do today is we're going to just go over these vocabulary, go over the words, go over what they mean, and try to make sure that we come up with some context clues in doing this, because when you're tested, whether it's a state test, whether it's a classroom test, or whether it's a life test, you're going to need to be able to pull out clues to make the best decision. Does that make sense? Brian, are you paying attention to me? That the best decision would be to listen. Don't worry about that right now because I'm not grading it. We have to stop working for a grade and work for knowledge. All right? So let's take a look at the vocabulary. Without looking at any of your notes, we're going to kind of break these down and try to understand what everything means. Drew, you got a question? Mm-hmm. Do you want to move up? Kwan, do you need to move up? All right. So just looking at this picture, let's make sure we understand. You need some papers, Madison. Let's understand what this picture is showing us. Rosalind, question? Yeah, we're going to break this picture down just in a moment. Wait, you got more. If you're missing anything else, I'll get you caught up by the end of class. All right, in looking at this picture, what occurs, I'm going to highlight it in yellow. You don't even know what I'm asking yet. What's this area here? What's that, Aaron? That's the beach. And that's where you're actually going to have your playtime. Maybe you're making a sandcastle. Get your hat on. I don't know what kind of hat this is, but whatever. And you're building a sandcastle. All right? And then over here, maybe you're lying out on the beach, taking a suntan, got the umbrella up. What kind of umbrella is that? I don't know. But you got your umbrella up. Do we frequent this area here? Yeah. We'll be swimming here. This is a little bit deeper, so we'll be swimming here, kind of floating along. Do we even frequent this area here? Yeah, this may be where some surfing occurs. Got your surfboard here, and okay, thank you. And the waves are hitting, and you're all good. Now, this definition says gradually sloping end of the continent that extends out under sea. Yes, we have the word sloping, but we also have another word that should help us out with this definition. I don't want the definition. What's another word that's in here that should help us out with the definition of this? Chris? Extends. Extends means to push out from something, to come out from something. This part is coming out from the what? From the land. So we're talking about this area here, coming out from the land. So therefore we know that this is the what? Continental shelf. Because it's the shelf of the continent. We got that? Okay. Moving on to our next one. Now this one here, again, this is the area that we're chilling. Oh, wrong pen. This is the area that we're chilling on, making our sandcastle. This is actually where houses would be built. This is the area that we're chilling on, making our sandcastle. This will be the area that we're going ahead and getting a tan. This is the area that we're swimming in and maybe even surfing in over here. But then we have this area here, and it says the end of the continent extending from the outer edge, this is the edge of the continental shelf, down to the ocean floor. Look at what it's making. It's making a what? A slope from your math. So therefore, this would be considered the continental slope. Good job. Then going to our next one, another picture of the beach, which again, this is a small picture of a large area. So we would never be way over here unless we're on a cruise ship, where this yellow is. But again, this is where our sandcastle would be. This is where we'll be probably tanning. This is where we'll be surfing. And this is where we have our extending out area, the part that drops down. And this says sloping. Now that could be a little confusing because it does say sloping, but you already have the word continental slope there, so you know that it can't be the continental slope. But it does say gently sloping section of the continental margin. We talked about the continental margin. A margin is within a boundary. What parts of the ocean floor represent the continental margin? Continental slope, shelf, continental slope, and Roger? Continental rise. Any part that starts with the word continental belongs to the continental margin. So this is located between the continental slope and the abyssal plain. Now the abyssal plain has a specific word in it that tells us a little bit, gives us information about what an abyssal plain kind of looks like, Ray. It is, an abyss is deep, but it also has another word, plain, which means flat. So it's going to be between your continental margin, which is all of this area, and it says between your continental slope and your flat area. So we're looking at this area right here, which would be the what?
Continental rise.
Continental rise. And the reason why they call it the continental rise is because from this point, to get to the continent, you must rise up. No, it's just to go backwards. It's saying it's a continental rise because to get back to the continent, you rise up. So you go up. And so this would definitely be the continental rise. Very good. Our next one, large, flat seafloor area. What is the key word in that definition? Simon. Flat. And out of all of those words that I've given you for the features of the ocean floor, which one has a word that means flat, Roger? Abyssal plain. And it does say seafloor area, so we know it's deep, and it's the abyssal plain, which is right about here. Any questions so far? All right. All right, this one says a chain of underwater mountains. Now, underwater mountains would look something like this, right? It's a chain of them, so it's a bunch of them. Is that going to be smooth or bumpy? Bumpy. Which word up there for the features has a word that could actually mean bumpy, Duran? No, which word? I'm just looking for one word that can mean bumpy, Aaron. Not out of the definition, out of our words, our features. Bryson, help him out. Ridge. It's rigid. Therefore, this must be the mid-ocean ridge because it's the mid of the ocean that's rigid. Now, what happens is the earth pushes, tectonic plates are being pushed this way, and tectonic plates are being pushed this way, causing the earth to bunch up on both sides. Kind of like if you were in a line and I wanted to step in and I push people to each side, you're going to all start to gather up, and you're going to expose this open space, which is this new ocean floor. Anywhere you see a mid-ocean ridge, you're going to see this new ocean floor. It is going to be a lower area. Which word up there talks about an area that's lower, Duran? This is a valley. So therefore, this is obviously going to be the Rift Valley. That wherever you see a mid-ocean ridge, you are going to see a Rift Valley. Wherever you see a Rift Valley, you're going to see mid-ocean ridge. And of course, this one had the word valley. Moving on to our next one. Underwater mountain. Only word up there that has the word mountain. Seamount. Sea could mean the ocean, the water, any mountain that's underwater, it would be considered a seamount. Kind of sounds like a sea monster. All right, this one. Which key words in this definition could kind of help us? Chris. Steep and depression. What does a depression mean? This feature is sad all the time?
No, it's like
Slice. It's a depression, means a cut. It's a cut there. And deep and in the cut would be your trenches, deep in the trench. So this would be your ocean trench. And then lastly, but certainly not least, you have your flat topped. It's a seamount, but so no, it's not the seamount, but it is a type of seamount, but it's flat topped. And there's really no way that you can remember this. The way that I remember it is usually guys get flat tops, so this would be a Gaia. Girls don't normally get flat tops, hopefully, right? Never seen a girl. Queen Latifah did back in the 80s. She did have a flat top. Kind of. All right. Yeah. Okay. So now take out your sheet. The quiz that I did not count. Nope. Now, some of you may realize with your quiz that you did get them all right or got them right, but the majority of people did not. So I said, you know what? I'm not even going to go through and start grading all of these because it just wasn't worth the time. So I want you to have your initial quiz that looked like this as soon as it pops up. Alrighty. Looking here. The ocean floor is the ocean floor is. Thank you, Devin, for just yelling out so abruptly. That's how we do it in here, right? No. Underwater land is land underwater made up of underwater, Aaron? Features. If you don't have these, make sure you correct them. If you have them right, then you give yourself a kudos because chances are this quiz will re-pop up. Probably not. All right. Mm-hmm. Read us this description and give us this answer, Jenny.
The edge of the continent that extends out to the water.
That is the shelf. And that was looking at this area right there. The next one here, read it and give us the answer, Patrick.
the end of the continental water, underwater. And I got continental slope.
That's right here, yep. Our next one, Ray.
Boundary between continent and deep ocean. Continental horizon.
Continental horizon, that's right there. Brian, this one. Well, that's why we're doing it now. Come on, read it. Wait. Look at where I'm at. I'm right here. Wait, where are you reading, honey? I'm right here. Are you looking at the right paper? Now, we had to remember what we put on our tree. Converging means away or coming together. Together. Coming together. Subduction has the word sub, which means Under, taking under. Duction means taking. So it's coming together and one is being taken under. So it's causing a deep what? Cut, which would be the, and that was this picture right here. Deep in the cut. All right, this one here, go ahead and read that to us, Duran. Flat. Flat, so means abyssal plain. Uh-oh. Looking at this one here. Rajulin? Mid-ocean ridge, good. Simon, the one underneath? Rift Valley. Wherever there's a mid-ocean ridge, there is a Rift Valley. Ray, this one here.
Underwater volcanic cones can form an island.
Did you say volcanic?
Volcanic. I said seamount.
That is a seamount. Remember, seamounts don't always have to come above water. They can still be underwater. But they are volcanic origin. And then the last one, Patrick?
Underwater mountain within eroded peak.
Gaia or Gia. Questions? Yes?
Okay, so
I'm sorry. I'm apologizing for you. Go ahead, Chris.
So have you ever like in the islands and like on the beaches they have those not towards the beach, but once you get into the beach and like far away in the ocean, they have like those rocks and stuff like that. Are those
They're still on the beach area where you can still be out there? It's probably the shelf. The shelf extends out further than we think. These pictures are just small. You're not going to be out and all of a sudden just drop down.
Because when I went to St. Croix, there was when I was on the beach, and I guess it was around the shelf or something. There were like these rocks and like you could see.
Yeah, so that's probably still the shelf. The shelf can extend out. Now, what happens if we have something like this? Let me just get my pen ready. If right here we had another shelf and then a slope, this would be considered another what? So this would be considered another what? Right, but this would be considered another what? Like over here, where we have our sandcastle. A beach. So what would we? This would be another beach. So we would be going from what to what? Coast to coast. Got it? All right. Yes, Duran.
When it says underwater mountain within a eroded peak, why would it rhyme? How come it's not seamount?
Because it's an eroded peak. The top has been eroded. It doesn't form a full mountain. It is a type of seamount, but it's a guyette because the top is eroded. A seamount's top is not eroded.
Well, like in Hawaii, in other island lands, how come their volcano erodes very often?
Erupts. It's just an active volcano. Maybe the heated under the water is just an active volcano. All right. Yes? Hawaii is a seamount. It's just the volcano is dormant. No, it's not. It's just a big mountain. Yes. Huh? The ocean floor is land underwater made up of underwater features. All right, let's now go to the bottom portion where we have our definitions. Now what we're going to do is we're going to read the definitions, but we're not going to give me the answer yet. We're going to point out the key words. All right? So let me get a highlighter here. Starting with Bryson. Go ahead. God bless you. Bryson, go ahead and read us the first definition and then tell me key words that could help you tell us what that word is.
The steeply inclined section
Okay. And we know that it's, okay, so we know it can't be the continental rise or the continental shelf, but it is part of the continental margin, leaving us with what? Continental slope. One second. Make sure you fill that in correctly if you don't already have it. All right, go ahead, Kwan, for the next one. Now you had, one second, you had to know what shoreline meant. That's that coast, that's that beach. And then go ahead. Well, we know it's a sloping section, but we don't want to confuse it with being the continental slope, because that's already in the definition. But it is part of the continental margin. So it would be continental shelf because it's between the shoreline and the continental slope. Question. Next one, Jenny. Go ahead.
It says a large, flat, almost level area of
You skipped one, honey.
oh, the generally sloping section of the continental margin located between the continental slope and the abyssal plain. And I say that the
Don't tell me the answer yet. Tell me keywords in the definition that can help you figure out the answer.
the sloping section and it's located between the continental slope and the continental plain.
Abyssal plain.
Okay.
So although, again, it says sloping, we know that it cannot be the continental slope because it's already there. It is part of the continental margin, but it's the closest to the abyssal plain. So, Jenny, that would be the continental rise. So it's down at the bottom, and it's coming back to the continent. All right. For our next one, Aaliyah. No. You're missing what we're doing. You're reading the definition, and then you are telling me keywords to help you figure it out, and then we'll come up with the answer. What's a keyword there that would help you? Flat, for sure. And this would be the abyssal plain. All right. For our next one, Durian. Mountainous. What's the key word? And chain. Okay. Okay, what's the answer? Mid-ocean ridge. And the key words would be mountainous chain. Chain of mountains. For our next one, go ahead, Eddie. What's the key word?
Volcanic origin.
Well, volcanic origin, yes, but also the major key word, underwater mountain.
Then the answer is seamount.
Seamount. Good. Our next one, Drika. Keywords? Yep. And even depression. What? Yeah. This is a trench. Trenches are in the cut. All right, and then our last one, who do I want to go with? Akaya?
Long, narrow valley forming when two tectonic plates separate.
What's the word that can help you? Valley. Everyone should have gotten that. But when it separates, that's forming a what? When the tectonic plates separate. What else is being formed? Mid-ocean ridge, which then gives us a new floor, which is the Rift Valley. If you did good and you got 100 on that, then you should do perfectly fine on the next quiz that this will pop up on. Any questions on this? All right. Then what we'll be doing for the rest of class, two things. Number one, we will be making up work. So if there's work that you are missing for this quarter, we will take this opportunity to make it up. This will be the last time that I would do something like this because it's your responsibility to keep up to date with your work and keep your work turned in. So if you were absent or if you're missing something, we're going to do that now. The rest of you will be watching a oceans video. I'm going to show you where it is for the sake of the taping of the video that we're doing now. So on my website, this is where this video would be if you are watching this online. Stop clicking that binder or whatever you're clicking. The video is under resources. It's under helpful music, videos, and other tools. And the video is called Earth's Ocean. So that's what we'll be watching, and this concludes this lesson.